Welcome to Bourbon Writers. In tonight's first pour series, we're opening a turkey. And not just any turkey. We're talking rare breed. The best of the turkeys, according to a lot of reviewers. Now, I don't know a lot about rare breed. I've had wild turkey products. We did a review of the Wild Turkey 101 and, of course, the Russell's Reserve 10-year. I wasn't a big fan of the Russells. I thought it was a little bit too spicy. But I also made the comment, if you like spice, you'll like Russells. So I'm hoping the rare breed is a little bit more mellow, a little bit more complex, a little more flavor, not just spice. But we're going to find out. What I know about is what I read, and you can go to Wild Turkey's website, and what do they tell you about it? It says it's a blend of a finest selection of 6, 8, and 12-year-old bourbon. Well, that's pretty impressive. No water is added before bottling. For a curated sipping experience like drinking straight from the cask. So barrel proof, cask proof, and to me it's all the same thing. This is accordingly 116.8 proof. That's up there. Now we have other cask strength stuff that we've sampled before. The Chattanooga Cask 111 is very close to this, and of course the Old Forester 1920 is 115 proof. So don't mind the proof as long as you taste more than just the proof. So let's get right to this and see what the pop sounds like. Mild pop, not a whole lot of vacuum there. Nice wood topper on there. And a fairly nice looking bottle too. So let's see what the color looks like. Kind of a medium to dark amber. Darker than I remember the 101 being. A little bit of oil in the glass. Not bad. The website really doesn't say, the Wild Turkey website, if I'm referencing, doesn't really say much about the color. They do give you information on taste, aroma, finish, and their process for making this bourbon whiskey. Give it a little swirl here. Make sure we're legal on YouTube. I forget how many times I have to do it. Someone's going to come back and say, like, you know that's not true, don't you? No, I don't. I smell a molasses. Some fruit that I can't, I get kind of a, more of a dark fruit than a light fruit. More of a cherry or raspberry than a apple or a pear. I do smell the proof though. I have to be careful sometimes. I don't take too big a whiff because then I just start lie on the floor over here. Spring flowers. I'm sorry. I don't smell the spring flowers. The black pepper, I smell some spice, so I would agree with that. The almonds mixed with layers of honey and dates. Well, that could have kind of disguised itself as molasses, couldn't it? You do almonds and honey and dates, you got kind of a rich flavor there. And a sweet. Okay. I'm not going to read about the taste because I want to figure out my own here. So, cheers. Recommendation. Take a small sip the first one, because that proof does hit you. Right away, it's just like, whoosh, like a wave. So, it's my first sip of bourbon today. And so I probably should have taken a smaller sip than I did. I thought I was pretty much controlling it, but I forgot it's barrel proof. So, as with anything that has a high proof, the first sip is really not an indication of the flavor of the bourbon. So once you kind of get used to it and your brain kind of says, proof, I got proof here, then you can start savoring the other flavors. I don't know if you noticed, I took a much smaller sip that time. Got some spice on the front end, but kapow on the flavor. I get the fruits that come across, the dark fruits, baking spices, nice baking spices. You get that pepper right on the front, but then immediately it rushes into the middle of your tongue, a flavor explosion. Nothing like I remember the Russells. I remember the Russells having that pow. You get that pepper and that spice up front, and then, you know, a molasses brown sugar kind of flavoring like a lot of bourbons. And it was like, yeah, but that spice up front just kind of killed it for me. You get that spice, and it's like a 1-2 punch in boxing. You get hit with the left spice, and then you get hit with the right, that intense flavor. And I'm not kidding you. It was like, oh yeah, I can take the first punch, but wow, that second one was a doozy. So what do they say? Warm, smoky flavors of grain and spice. I'm sorry, Wild Turkey, you need to fire the person that wrote that. That doesn't even make sense. I'm sorry. It's not anywhere close to the experience I just tasted in this glass. You could have written 3 or 4 more paragraphs to explain what I just tasted. And to make sure I'm not out of my gourd, I'm going to taste it again. You know, I thought the Old Forester 1920 had some really bold taste to it. I mean, it just comes out there and smacks you right across the face. This smacks you across the face and does this number on you. Wow. Yeah, the grain I get, the spice I get, but those layers of honey and dates and almonds that they talked about in the aroma, I am getting some kind of complex fruit in here that's sweet. This is a lot sweeter than I expected it to be. And remember, one of the things I talked about with the Russells, that I said it was not a good balance, that it had too much spice, and not enough other flavors to balance it. So you get hit with that spice, and then the flavor just kind of like, I'm still dealing with a spice here. The flavor's down here, the spice is up here, and then it goes to the finish, a peppery finish, and you're going like, yeah, that's okay. So we need to talk about the finish. The website says it's a long and lingering spice. Again, you should fire this person. It nowhere describes how good this finish is. For minutes after my last sip, I was tasting the fruit and the baking spices, and it lasted and lasted and lasted. They used 1, 2, 3, 4 words. It would take 40 words for me to describe the finish in this product. So don't let that keep you from buying this product. It's not accurate. It's much better than they're telling you it is. This is something special. It's something I'd save for Friday night or Saturday night when I had very good friends over and I wanted to share a very special bourbon. This would be up there on my top shelf. Well, I actually have a top shelf, don't I? I would have no problem putting this on my top shelf so my friends that are short can't reach it. I'm kidding. This is a top shelf bourbon, in my opinion. It's certainly worth the $60 to $65. I pay more than that for the Widow Jane 10-year. I pay a lot more than that for the Widow Jane Decadence. I pay a lot more than that for Kentucky Owl. And I haven't even tasted that stuff yet. That stuff's getting open St. Patty's Day. So, let's take one more taste and do a final thought on this. There's no getting around the proof when you taste it, or the spice. You may not like that, and it may not be the bourbon for you. But if you wait a couple seconds, and I promise you it won't take long, for that rush of flavor that you get in the middle of the tongue, and then that finish that lasts and lasts and lasts, you're going to be a fan. I'm not a fan of the Russells. Not at all. I thought the 101 was a good bourbon and a great value. Good. Not my daily sipper, although I certainly could afford it to be a daily sipper, as inexpensive as it is. This is a Friday night pour. This is something I pour for my best friend. So, top shelf bourbon? Absolutely. If you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. And please remember, always drink responsibly. And we'll see you next time. You know that's not true, don't you? No, I don't.